Propane Fitness Podcast. Today I'm with David, a very good friend of mine. I've known him for about 10 years now, and I've been really excited to record this because David has just come back from a 10-day meditation retreat, silent retreat in Budapest, and he didn't want to talk to me about it until we put the microphone on the big black dildo in the middle, because there's just so much to discuss. So this will be fresh for me as it is for you.
Yeah. Well, we discussed a little bit. I gave you a phone call when I got
the cliff notes, yeah.
Yeah. The condensed. Yeah. But also, like, I was conscious that with too much time passing, that there'd be too much, like, kind of sort of fake editing of the event. You know, when you reflect and you put things into, like,
stories and
and it just wasn't how it was. So it's kind of enough time for reflection, but like not too long. This is a good time to talk about it, I think.
That's good. So first of all, I suppose there's a horrible thing that I hate to be asked, but can you tell us who you are and
who I am?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm David. I'm a medical student with Yusef. We're in our fourth year, I guess, is where we're at with that. But I've known Yusef for, like, when did we meet? Like 2008?
Yeah.
So your first year in uni, which is 2008. So going on 10 years now. I don't know really what I am. I would just say, like, the thing that I guess I am what I do mostly, which is I am primarily a medic, secondly a sleeper, and then I eat more than I go to the gym, but gym's probably a close fourth. So I'm a lot of time on my bike, so I guess I'm those things.
David's missed out reading as well, which is, like, you're the most prolific reader that I've ever met.
I'm not a good reader. Speak to Rory, but then Rory's another one of our good friends who is, like, the most, like, just prolific reader. He reads like a book every 2-3 days, but I read like one every month now. So anyway,
so yeah, I think if you're okay with us just being as candid as possible, I mean, last year I think the predominant theme last year was, you know, we were in hospital most hours of the day. Mm-hmm. It was very routine, and I felt you getting pretty miserable throughout the year. Yeah.
We'll go further back in the story. I first heard about vipassana, which is the 10-day meditation course. When I was about 20 years old, I was traveling with Rory, who actually, funny, I just mentioned. We were traveling in India, and he's a complete, like, I don't know how he knows the stuff that he knows. Like, he's such an explorer. Like, he's completely unique. And a complete individual anyway. He said to me one day, let's go and do this meditation course. Very much, like, hastily summarised what it was. It's silent, it's 10 days, a lot of meditation, it's going to be great. And I was like, yeah, sod it, like, I'll go. And then he says, right, we've got a place in this camp tomorrow. Let's go do it. I was like, sod it, yeah, cool, I'll go do it. And I got to this meditation camp in the north of India, and it was like, it was so brutal. Like, the whole setup was ridiculous. It was like you had, like, tarpaulin cells, effectively. You had about, like, no bigger than the floor plan of this flat for, like, 10 or 15 guys to walk around. And then obviously, like, the format of vipassana, which is in itself is brutal, which you wait for the benefit of people who don't know, is you wake up at 4 a.m. every day. You begin meditating at 4:30. You finish that meditation session at 6:30. Then you have your breakfast and you rest until 8, and then you meditate from 8 until 11. So that's 3 hours straight, and then you rest from 11 till 1. And trust me, you need the rest. Like, you're knackered. Like, people are like, oh, you're going to meditate, you're going to go chill out. Like, it's hard work. We'll get onto that as well in a bit. And then you meditate from 1 until 5, you rest from 5 until 6, and then you meditate from 6 until 7, and then you have the discourses, describe them a bit as well later. from 7 till 8, and then meditation from 8 till 9, and then you go to bed, and it's lights out at 10. So like wall to wall, like scheduled in, meditation, rest, reflection, and then like a bit of eating. So it's brutal. So that was a shock in itself the first time, because I didn't know what the format would be. And then there was also all the stuff that you need to do, that you submit yourself to while you're there, which is no eating past 12. You get like a cup of tea at 5 p.m. and a biscuit. An apple. It's like a fucking apple. Like, oh my god. So no eating past 12 apart from a cup of tea and an apple at 5 p.m. No talking to anybody. You can't exercise. You can't gesture to anybody. You can't engage anybody in eye contact. You got to deliberately sort of avert your eyes. You can't sing. You can't whistle. You can't.
What's the reason for avoiding all of these things?
So one, it's about your own process, because it's a process that you've submitted yourself to. Two, don't distract other people during their process. Don't contaminate it. Three, they're all sort of distractions, these things that we do anyway. They're ways in which we parcel out our frustration, parcel out our kind of neuroses, or just like displace a little bit. Just pure distractions from being with ourselves, from facing who we are. Four, there's a potential that, like, you know, a social interaction doesn't go the way that you want it to go, or maybe it goes really well, and then you go, oh, that was shit, oh god, I fucked up there, like I feel really uncool, or like they misunderstood me. And during 10 days that is ring fenced for you to undo a lot of the kind of neuroses or grievances or knots, if you like, about yourself. You've built new ones.
Spiritual scar tissue.
Exactly. You've started building new castles or new issues. So
that's interesting, I suppose.
Or you've been like, oh, I was amazing in that, and then you're like, oh,
just sat there reveling in,
yeah. And honestly, because you've got no time to do anything apart from reflect and be with yourself, though you can spend 3 hours just brooding on like something you've just done.
So I remember you saying this, that because your external world is so devoid of stimulation, and you've done things to remove that stimulation, any small thing becomes so magnified. Yeah. And so, even a little positive or negative interaction is like, oh my god, and your mind will just latch onto it. Yeah,
exactly. And you do that because you do that anyway when you go out, and I call it the yard, because it's like a prison. So like everybody goes out into the yard, which is just like the recreation area where you rest. And well, this is why it was super tough in India. And again, just to close that story, is that like I didn't complete it when I was 20 and I was in India. It was just too hard. I was too naive. I just I wasn't prepared enough. Which to prepare is like a bit of a paradox, because that's like you fortifying yourself against something, and it's about undoing all of your kind of defenses. But anyway, I was unprepared.
From what you said, you sound like you went in as a bit of a YOLO, like, okay, yeah, I'll do it, sounds good.
Yeah, the first time, I was just, it was that, but just wasn't prepared for the amount of kind of digging that you do on yourself, whether you like it or not, you do. So anyway, I failed. Well, I saw myself out like in a complete like fuck this kind of mess on like day 5 or 6 in India. So that was one of the reasons I wanted to do it this time, is that even then I recognised the benefits of like those 5 days, and I wanted to complete it. And there's a bit of an ego thing in me as well. Before that, I was just like, I had to get it done. I had to go back and do it.
Second time round, to try and correct the previous one and say, I'm gonna beat my PB this time.
Exactly. There's a bit of that. There was a tiny bit of that. No, there was a fair amount of that. But I knew also that like there could be. I recognised that even from doing just half the course first time, there was a lot of benefits, and it was something that I wanted to fully like understand and learn. So but as you said, like last year was like it was an okay year really, but like I just find that you wherever you go, and whatever achievements you have, and however comfortable your life is. I don't know, some people are always happy. I'm one of those people that's always just like unhappy with what I have, and I just think like it's just such a sad position to be in, really. Like you know, why you have everything within yourself to be happy with your world and with your circumstances, yet some people, and myself definitely included, are incapable of accessing those resources for making yourself happy. And I was just like, why is that? And it went part and parcel with our experiences, very limited experiences of like mental health treatment and so on. God, rubbish. Like how we treat mental health is purely symptom control and nothing for addressing like what makes people, you know, ill, like what makes people have the neuroses that they have. And like, yeah, so part of it was like, there's maybe something here that could give people means to heal themselves with whatever neuroses or attachments or issues they have.
I think it's
part
interesting.
Of it's like, I wanted to do it myself.
Even your phrasing there, you're healing yourself. Like it's, I think, one of the most annoying and sobering insights that I've had from meditation has been that, as you said, we are just cock blocking ourselves. Like there is no one else that has put these layers of conditioning and suffering on us.
Yeah.
It's us the whole time. We were the ones that put it in.
Yeah.
We're the only ones that can take it out. But we are exactly the thing that is in the way of us being able to enjoy life, to engage with life fully.
Yeah.
And instead we've just layered on this story and like, it's like you've just covered yourself in sheets of wet fish.
Yeah. And you've completely done it to yourself. And you're like, but as much as you intellectually understand that you should be like, you know, endlessly energetic about the world, because it's always changing, it's never the same, so you should have endless energy for it, you know what I mean? So, but you intellectually understand that you should be happy, that you should be engaged, that you should be interested, but like that you should break through those layers of wet fish and cardboard and shite, but you just don't know how to do it. How do you do it? So, but like Vipassana felt like I did that. Anyway, we'll go on a bit beyond. I think like we should still just say like what it is.
Fair enough. Yeah. So, I mean, I suppose that's a good tease in itself. That it's not a relaxing trip. It's not like a nice little holiday. It's opening Pandora's box of your mind. And you know, you said that you were warned when you left the last time on day 5 that they said like, you know, it's really not advisable to leave because you've opened up a bunch of stuff that now you've only kind of half processed it.
Yeah, I think that's correct. Like I'd opened the wounds, if you like. There's an analogy that's used throughout the whole process, which is that you're making a surgical cut and you're going deeper and deeper and deeper with each day. And so I guess I became aware of like the things within me when I was 20, say. Without acquiring the means of actually dealing with them emotionally. So, yeah, pretty dangerous, I think, to leave early. Yeah.
So the main technique, I suppose, I mean, Vipassana translates as to see things clearly in Pali, and it's just a process of sitting and observing and like meticulously inspecting every sensation that comes up in your awareness. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, that's pretty much bang on.
And so the healing capabilities, or the fact that this stuff about Pandora's box, you're probably thinking, well, if you just sat and stared at your experiences all day, why does that create this unloading, this catharsis? And I guess it's very similar. The analogy that I always think of is the body's analogy of if you eat loads of food and then you don't poo for weeks, first of all it's uncomfortable, and then it starts to grow, and then it starts to become toxic, and then it starts to affect you systemically, and you have to let go of that, otherwise it's going to be causing you some serious problems.
Yeah, or you let go of it through like unhealthy interactions, or the way in which you interact with the world is bad. You know what I mean? Anyway, well, I'll go into like a bit. I'll say firstly, I don't speak for Vipassana. I'm not like a representative for anybody. All I talk about is my own experiences, and I'll do a very poor job of paraphrasing the kind of philosophy behind it, and I won't even attempt to try and retell the stories that Esen Goenka says in his discourses. Esen Goenka is the guy who brought Vipassana to the West and did like the videos, translated them into English, and he speaks in the discourses that you have from 7 till 8. He just basically tells you why you do it, what kind of feelings you're likely to get, and he tells some nice stories about Buddha and so on. But anyways, I'll do a bad job of summarising the philosophy, but the whole point of it anyway is that it's meant to be really basic and really easy to follow, and it is. But
this was the protocol that Buddha designed for people to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Their own work.
Yeah, I can't even remember like the tenets of it, but it's like that it's supposed to be understandable, that it's supposed to be practical, and that it's supposed to have benefit. Like, there's a few more, but yeah, it's not. There's no highfalutin, esoteric kind of theory behind it. There's a few words like sankhara, which is like reaction, which is like you have superficial ones and deep ones. So it's basically those are like the knots that you tie. That's the lasting word I have, is like, when you're tying knots and you feel that like you're creating a deeper versity to something. That's like the sankhara. But anyway,
so like resistance to reality.
Yeah, or it's like attachment or adversity. Aversion.
Yeah, I guess.
Anyway, so yeah, you say it's about awareness. So the first 3 days are about developing your faculty for observing yourself and for observing your sensation. So the first day, you sit down, and it's 10 hours meditation a day, and you have to go in with the attitude that it's hard work, that you're gonna feel like you're failing a lot of the time, but you just got to keep persevering. So you sit down on the first day and you just observe your breath going in and out. Do you know the format? Do you know the full format?
I do, but I think if we can explain.
Yeah, sure.
Process.
So the first day is you just observe your breath going in and out. You don't control your breath like in yoga. You just, like, if your breath goes in, you breathe through your nose. If your breath goes in and it's a shallow breath, then it's a shallow breath, and you breathe out, and then you breathe out for this long, and then if you breathe in again and it's like maybe it's a deep breath, so it was a deep breath, whatever, then you breathe out, and that's how long you breathe out for, and that's it.
It's just
what exactly, hands up, you just observing your breath, whatever it is, and then your mind is all you're just trying to keep your mind 100% on your breath,
just kind of letting things settle and focusing your awareness to a single point.
Yeah, exactly. So, but your mind's always interjecting, trying to take your attention, your focus off your breathing. So at best, maybe you can do like 3 or 4 seconds of just like pure awareness of your breath.
If anyone's ever tried meditating and you think you can sit down for half an hour and do it
without thinking,
like, you'd be lucky if you can get 3 breaths.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Without
thinking like, what am I going to have for dinner? Or like, I can't believe
it's just stand up. and then you buy the fridge and you're like, what? How the shit did I get? Yeah.
And I suppose that's the benefit of having the accountability in a session like that, where you are in Budapest, you're not going anywhere, there's other people watching you.
Yeah.
You look like a dick if you get up and leave. So
definitely,
you have to just
I'm here.
Through it.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Is it like it takes 10 days and it's the format that it is because it needs that, but also like you can't be like, I've got to go do this, like I've got something else I need to do or whatever. Like, you are there to work, just do the work and just throw yourself in. That's why, like, at the very, very start, he says that you have to surrender yourself to it, and like you have to do a little like chant, not chant. It's just like you recant some words where it's like, I asked the teacher, I take refuge in this, I surrender myself to it, and I asked the teacher to teach me. And it's just like, you've said it now. It's a verbal contract that you'll do it. But anyway, yeah, the whole time, even the first day, as simple as it is, just observe your breath, as simple as it sounds, like your brain is just interjecting, and you feel like you realise you've been thinking about, like, what you're going to do when you leave in 10 days, or like, how, did you get the right change on the bus the day before, or you've got some bullshit. I had ABBA stuck in my head for the first 4 days, and it was delirium.
Massive ABBA fan.
I fucking hate ABBA. And I had Dancing Queen as well, and so see, your mind's interjecting the whole time, and the point is that you don't get frustrated, you don't get depressed, disappointed, or you feel defeated when the mind interjects. You just go, my mind's distracting me again. I'll just bring my attention back to my breath, and it's just that the whole day.
It's so insidious as well.
Breath.
Sometimes you'll find 10 minutes later you've been thinking about something completely. And and you're like,
you don't even realise. You don't even realise. And the tactics, this is what's interesting and about as the days progress, is your brain uses your mind uses more and more sophisticated tactics as well to draw your attention away from your breath. It's fantastic. It's like they throw out the infantry to start out, they're expendable. And then you bring out the big guns like day 7, day 6, day 7, where it's like, all your relationships and all the like hurt and the grief, and anyway, whatever. It's just a tactic.
Looking forward to getting to that bit.
Well, but anyway, so you're developing, the ultimate goal here is awareness, so supreme awareness of like what's going on, and then you don't get supreme equanimity, but equanimity essentially with whatever is going on that you're sensing. That's it. That's essentially the end goal of the whole thing. So you focus on your breath, you get distracted, you realise you've been distracted, don't get angry when you get distracted, or when you've been focused for 10 minutes, don't be like, I'm amazing because I've not been distracted for 10 minutes. And that's it. Those are like the first samples, if you like, of your awareness of attachment and aversion. You become angry with yourself because you're not doing what you think you're supposed to be doing, or you become proud of yourself because you've done what you're supposed to be doing. However well you do, however badly you do, you just accept it.
I see.
And that's it.
Even at the most basic level, if you really whittle down this attachment and aversion, and as you said, the being pleased with your success that you've maintained your concentration, or being annoyed that you've got distracted. So Jonny's coming out with an article soon about Muse headset. So that's a headset that you wear that detects your state of concentration in meditation, and if you focus for a long time, birds start to tweet, and it's like a soundscape of a beach or something, or a forest, and if you start to lose concentration, the beach gets more angry and more stormy. And in that simple model, it's detecting your brainwaves live, and it's giving you that live feedback. But even in that simplicity, it brings out all of the attachment and aversion, because when the birds start tweeting, you're like, I'm sick at this, and then it starts getting stormy again. You're like, bollocks! I've just completely ruined my focus.
And because the storm starts coming, you're like, oh my god,
I'm such a dick! Like,
it's storming. I'm so shit at this. I did think of that when I was in there. I was like, nah, that can't work. But anyway, I don't know. I haven't tried it enough.
So this was day 1. This was you getting steady.
Day one, no, no, you don't. It's like the analogy I thought of was, it's like a plane taking off. You like it's like, what the fuck, for ages, and then you're flying and you got that nauseating first turn, and it's like, that's like day 1. Day 2 is the nauseating first turn. 3 is when you're like breaking through the cloud layer, and like from 3 to 7 is like all the turbulence as you go through the cloud layer. And then like day 8 is when you're above the cloud layer and you're just sort of cruising along. And you genuinely do begin to feel like you could be equanimous, could be accepting of almost anything. Because you've been there for 8 days. It should be at its like crescendo of stress. Like, I've been detached from everybody. I've suffered all the kind of deprivations or whatever have been here. But that's when you're at your most like, this is fine.
That's such a nice image as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, like you would have thought by day 8, like your arse would be wrecking, and yeah, you'd be like, I haven't spoken to a person in ages, I haven't eaten a nice meal.
Yeah.
All of those things you'd think would be starting to culminate.
Yeah. Or I guess you just get used to it.
Yeah.
Who knows? I don't know. But the whole I mean, it's okay if we get a bit ahead of ourselves. We don't have to go day by day by day. But anyway, like the compound is meant to mirror. Well, for me, it felt like a microcosm of the real world anyway. because we're all in a compound, and it's just, how profound is that? We're all in a compound, but the walls are just huge, or they're sort of madly indeterminate, like kind of infinite, or as you're bounded only by the planet, if you like. But there's only so far you can run before you have to face yourself anyway. It's just Vipassana makes you face yourself there and then, instead of being like, when it all comes to a head and you I don't know, like you're 70 and you've got no mates and you're miserable. You've done everything. You think you've exhausted every avenue in your life for making yourself happy.
And then you're facing it, and it's probably then at a stage where it's not as voluntary because you've kind of been backed into a corner, so it's probably a bit more painful.
Oh, it'd be awful as well at that point as well. Although there's a lot of old dudes there, or older dudes anyway. I mean, you speculate about why different people are there, but I'm guessing like from middle age onwards, it's going to start to become about my mortality, really. Maybe I don't know, or like you see a lot of your mates dying, or like people who are close to you. But yeah, I'd hate to have to face it like with that kind of pressure.
Yeah,
like you have to get this out of it. You have to get equanimity for death out of it.
I've heard of a couple of kind of people who went really high level with spiritual work being fueled by that. Like they've been given a terminal diagnosis or something, and so they just sit and think, right, I'm just going to pound it. Like all distractions have been. A guy called Lester Levinson who had multi-organ failure and was just given days to live. He didn't know how, and the doctor was like, don't even bend down to like get some loafers, because if you bend down to tie your shoes, you're likely to.
You don't tie loafers, mate.
Yeah. So and he said he just sat for 3 months and just processed and managed to basically clear himself, so the legend goes, and lived on for another 40 years and was completely free of suffering. So so yeah, I guess like having that kind of pressure of mortality could maybe be a nice spur for it in some ways.
Yeah, maybe.
Interesting.
Yeah. But wait. Anyway, so day one.
Yeah.
You just focus in your attention, and it's quite large scale. Your breath, and then you focus your attention in on this area from above your nostrils down to the corners of your mouth, and then the top of your lip, and you're just observing the breath going over the top of it and back out. One of the tactics you use if you find that your mind's been distracted for over 5 minutes is you breathe a little bit harder, so the kind of stimulus of the breath, if you like, is a bit easier to focus on, to be aware of. But then you settle it back down into normal breathing. It's all about not modifying your reality. It's about observing the reality as it is. And then the day 3 is about feeling sensations. Then just in your upper lip. And then there could be sensations of like itching or sweating, or like heat or cold, or the breath over the top. And then again, whatever you feel, it's like it is what it is. Don't try to modify it. Don't itch it, because that's a reaction. But obviously, the first thing that manifests, I never have an itchy. When did you ever have an itchy upper lip? Like, I've not once a day gone, fucking upper lip. But as soon as you start focusing on your upper lip, like, oh man, itches all over it, and you're like, you just want to get your finger up there and just give it a solid itch. But like, whether you're just becoming more aware of sensations that you're otherwise blunted to, or you're manifesting them, the psychogenetic or whatever the point is that they are there, you're sensing them, so they're real, but don't react to them, because maybe it's an itch in your lip, or maybe it's like a mild insult in the street. If you're reacting, you're reacting. So you're not being a thoughtful. It's already thoughtful. You're not responding properly, because you feel miserable.
You're reacting rather than responding, I suppose. You're on autopilot if you just go and yeah. And we don't need to go massively into it, but like, it's never you never feel great when you fuck off me. Like, and that person doesn't feel great either, because they either feel validated for what they've done, which is wrong to validate someone when they've done something wrong,
or they just fuck you back, and it's just like this. Well, that was a productive exchange, isn't it?
Never a productive exchange. Yeah, you're right.
You don't really attain anything. You both just feel equally validated and humiliated. So, like, it was the point in that. So, yeah, but I'm massively guilty of that. I probably still will be, but I definitely was strongly prior to Vipassana, and this is why I wanted to go and do it. And it has caused problems for me in my life, and no more so than with Moena, my ex-girlfriend.
Being reactionary.
Absolutely, yeah. She'd be like, well, great. Like, I want to go out with this, calm, strong, like, sort of noble person. I'm like, okay, that's what you want, whatever, that's fine. But she's just like, you look like a petty dickhead when you react that way. And I felt like a petty dickhead, but then I felt like a petty dickhead, and I'd reacted, and then also I'd push the person away, that because I felt them like abandoning me because I was attaching to them, I became even more petty and a dickhead against them. I was just like, oh wow, great. So I've been mildly insulted by someone on the street. I've responded like a petty dickhead. I feel like humiliated, and then that person that I love is saying, you look like a dickhead. And because I love them so much, because I'm attached to them, I'm like, fuck you. I'm like, wow, I'm not spiraled. When I could have just been like, oh, it's an itch in my lip, and I don't care.
Hello, Jonny here. Just a short interruption to this episode. I know what you're thinking. This show was brought to you by... None of that, trust me. We have something completely free, something to give you today. So we're aware that you guys who've been listening to our podcast, you've heard before us talk about the show notes and other places to go to download things from PropaneFitness.com. But we want to give those of you who listen to our podcast something completely different, something completely unique that we don't provide anywhere else. So we want to give you something that is actually a membership area or a membership portal where we have loads of free goodies, some downloads, some things to watch, some trainings, and some free presentations that we want to give you, all bundled together, completely free. All you have to do is go to propanefitness.com/gift. There's no email opt-in, there's no enter your email and receive this. It's completely obligation free. You just enter your email, enter your username rather, and your password, and then you'll be sent login details. So completely free. In there we have some training on the 3I formula. That's the framework that we use with all of our coaching students, and loads of other free goodies. So that's propanefitness.com/gift. Head over there now, pick up your free training, and we hope you enjoy. Hope you enjoy the rest of this episode, and we'll speak soon.
Especially when all of that cycle was initiated by yourself, and there's no one to blame.
Yes.
But you were the one that did all this, and then you're seeing the ruins at the end of it, and you're like, yeah. I'm a petty dickhead because
I'm a petty little dickhead. I could have just... It's not about not feeling something. It's about feeling the full weight of it. Because you don't want to be an unfeeling person. It's about like just being okay with feeling it, and you don't have to do anything about it. It's not like a philosophy of inaction either. It's not like you don't do anything. It's just like there are certain principles that you still want to live on, but you can do what's good, unfettered by your own agenda.
Right. So they often say with the Vipassana teachers that you're not in control of your thoughts, and that the things that happen in your awareness are all happening to you, and they're not you doing them.
Yeah.
And actually, meditating is not like I'm going to sit down and just not have any thoughts. Like that, they're just gonna happen and come to you. And the point is to just not feed them with any more energy, and just to let them be and do what they do.
Yeah, sure.
And I suppose this goes not just to the internal sensations and thoughts, but also to your reactions to the world and everything else.
Well, that's what's great, is that like nothing in the philosophy says like now you begin thinking it now, like all your deepest thoughts and all your deepest issues will come up. All the instructions ever are like, now observe your top lip, and whatever you feel, like actual sensations, not whatever you think, whatever sensation you feel, accept it. And then so you've developed like your faculty for observing here. By day 3, not great. Like I'd say, from what I understand about other people's experience that I spoke to after, and my own personal one, that's all I can speak for, is that if I could get like 50% of my mind on here for like 10 or 15 seconds straight, then I was pretty chuffed with that. And then my mind would wander, but I'd notice my mind had wandered for like maybe a minute, and I could bring it back without being like fucking angry that I'd done that. So you build up your 15 seconds of like 50% awareness of your lip for an hour, and then you build that up. Anyway, so then Vipassana actually starts on day 4. That's when you take your like hyper awareness of your top lip and then begin applying it to your whole body. So you work down in top lip size chunks down your body.
As if you're being CT scanned or something.
Yeah. Reverse CT scan. No, it is CT scan. Sorry, you don't go from your feet. Well, you get a picture from your feet up, don't you? But they take it from your head down.
Such a dweeby little side bit there.
Well, less of a medical one would be a bucket of water slowly poured over your head. That's not mine. That was the teacher's.
So, like cross section. So I suppose if you're under the water and you're slowly stepping out.
Well, you start basically with like just at the top of your head, and then you move down in chunks, like this bit of your face, bit of your scalp, this bit of your scalp, and then you go like your face. And
so
then
you just systematically move through.
Yeah.
How long would it take to do one sweep of the body?
I'd take about half an hour because I'm like anal. And I'd be like, was that a feeling? I'm not quite sure it was a feeling, so I'll stick there for a little bit. So I'd take half an hour, other people would take like 5-10 minutes or whatever. So all you do is you observe the feeling. So you've got your eyes closed, you've always got to have your eyes closed, and you observe for a feeling in the top of your head. It could be anything. It could be just like the feeling of the atmosphere, or the feeling of your hair, or like another itch or something, or heat. As soon as you got a sensation, you move on to the next patch. And the next patch, and you just keep doing that up and down your body. That's like day 4 or 5, and then you begin moving down the body, and then eventually you get to a point where like you go from your head down to your toes, like day 5, and then day 6 you go from your toes all the way back up to your head, and backwards and forwards, and then day 7 is apparently like another really tough day. I can't remember. How can't I remember day 7? Day 7 was pretty tough. I remember just having a lot of like aversion to the whole thing, just being like, right, I've got it, I can understand the process now, like
I can go away and do it on my own. I don't need to,
There was a lot of like Christian tropes that came out for me, like a lot of like sort of biblical motifs, if you like. I was like, well, like the 7 sins, I was definitely like, they definitely are like sort of pigeonholes that your thoughts fall into.
Okay.
Like day 3 was lust. Like I was like, day 3 was every kind of like sexual thought ever that came out. And maybe you said like, you know, if you stop masturbating, then it's like the 5th day your testosterone peaks.
7th day apparently. Yeah.
7th day. Oh, maybe that was the 7th day. But like day 3 for me. I was ready to smash S and go and kill yourself.
It probably.
I was like,
just on those videos, just like
whoa, talking human. Yeah, donut man.
I suppose that there's the 5 hindrances in Buddhism as well, isn't it? Which must have some parallel with the 7 sins.
Yeah.
I can't remember what they are.
The 5 hindrances are like
torpor, stupor.
It's like you're falling asleep, or you just find your feet suddenly yourself on your feet. There's like, what are they? I don't know. I was thinking them before.
I think like torpor, stupor, rage.
There's aversion and craving.
Okay, yeah, maybe that's.
Yeah, and then you're on your feet, you're drowsy, or you. I don't know, maybe. But anyway, the 7 sins or whatever for me was just like, there was like a pride, like an intellectual pride, and I felt like that was probably the last one that, I don't know how Jesus was tempted in his cave or whatever by the devil, but it must have definitely been one of the tactics used. It's just like, right, I've got this, I understand it intellectually, like I don't need to like crack on anymore. I can go off and just do what I need to do because I understand it. I was like, and it took me maybe like an hour to realise that instead of meditating, I had just like completely swept up myself in the indulgence of my own understanding. I was like, oh, there we go. I've not been meditating for the last 2-3 hours because I've just been thinking how smart I am that I've got it. And
So I've heard Daniel Ingram talk about this, who's a guy he's a emergency medicine physician in America who's done loads of retreat time and years of meditation, and says a lot of people on these 10-day retreats will just spend the whole time steeping in their neuroses and actually not doing the practice. And it sounds like,
I think so.
well, it sounds like you had the metacognizance, the recognition that you were steering away and bringing it back.
Yeah.
Even if it was associated with like, oh, I'm doing it again, but you still had that. And I remember you said earlier, just before, that your mind brings out the bigger and bigger guns, and you said that it comes up with more sophisticated ways to trap you and get you out of the practice.
Yeah, no, definitely.
And then until you're having an arms race with yourself and your own intellect to try and convince you to not.
Yeah. And the only tactic, I don't know what yourself is and how your mind isn't yourself, but we always feel as it's something not quite yourself. But the only tactic that you have against it is like, just be like, that's cool, thanks, no thanks, kind of like attitude.
It's weird, yeah. The way that at least the way I experience it, and I don't know if this is the same with you, or if it changed, your perception of yourself changed over the days, but I feel like the mind, the working default mode network for me, is just a series of algorithms that just run randomly.
Oh yeah,
and then
monkeys on typewriters.
Yeah,
yeah.
And then awareness is just the completely empty, untouched space that it all occurs in.
Mm-hmm.
But for some reason, this ability to be like, oh, okay, I'm just going to step back. I don't know whether that's just another algorithm, but it's a benign one.
Oh, exactly.
Or if it's part of awareness.
I know. I guess could that just be another trick that you're using? Oh, this is myself observing the mind. Or like, well, maybe that's just another deeper thing. But
as they say, use the mind to undo the mind.
Yeah.
But
I guess the point, how you know it's not, is that you begin to feel better. And what kind of other yardstick do you need than that? Like, you're not feeding some kind of cyclical, pointless kind of algorithm or whatever, do you know? Because that kind of wears you out. That, it gets you nowhere really. But if you just sit with the other bit that is observing, then you begin to feel better. Like you just feel okay. The only thing I can really go on, like as a testimonial for it, is that like I feel better as a person. I feel more comprehending. I feel calmer. I feel like there's not like I've never been a particularly panicky person. I don't know. I had some anxiety stuff occasionally, actually, didn't I? So I wouldn't be able to stop that cycle. You'd be like, dude, chill out. And that I wouldn't even begin to comprehend how I do that, because I was unaware that I was going slowly nuts. But like,
at least from what I've seen, it was like spirals that just went out of control. But your baseline state is very low anxiety.
Yeah. But I don't know. I just gave free rein to them. I guess we're all guilty of giving free rein to whatever thoughts we are, if we think that thoughts are something that we have to heed or follow, or
thinking that they're true.
That they have value.
We all have our triggers as well, like health anxiety is one thing. If you're being told that you've got something wrong with your body, then that sends some people into an absolute spin. Or relationship anxiety, if there's a threat of your partner leaving you, then that can be the thing where, some people don't give a shit about their health. They could, I saw someone in hospital last year that the only reason he came into hospital was because the ulcer on his leg had got so big that he developed cellulitis and couldn't walk and couldn't go to his dealer to get his next fix of IV drugs. But until then, he just ignored the 8 months of hurting to piss and liver failure and broken ribs and heart issues.
Is it heroin though?
Heroin user, yeah.
That can make you pretty equanimous with a lot of stuff. So I was thinking that, I was like, the times that I've had painkillers when I've been ill or whatever, I'm just like, it makes you pretty chilled about everything. So maybe we're meditating, or there's a way to like
tap into
endogenous heroin. Like, I don't know.
Fine, I'll be up for that.
Yeah, but I suppose you can't utilize exogenous heroin, all the time, which is
you've got an unlimited supply if you can just generate it. So
you can just get it. Yeah.
So,
but the amount of chatter that is just in your head, it's just pure bollocks. Like, you can just learn to tell your brain that like I said, thanks but no thanks is okay, and then know which ones you need when, which thoughts you need when, and so the amount of things that your brain begins to dig up and throw at you. Your old habit, your old self is to respond and to react and just get really like angry and simmer on things, and I was well guilty of that. But like, I don't know. I guess the calm, the kind of enlightenment that people aspire to. That's kind of like your holy grail, if you like. And then these are just gauntlets that your mind's just throwing up at you. You can choose to, engage with them or not. So I just now, like, I feel like if I were to have reflections on, I don't know, my past, my, relationships or whatever, I could just be like, it's okay. I don't need to think about that. It's gone. Thinking about it is not really gonna solve anything. And also, like, I think about it from an unhealthy point. It's not from an unbiased perspective. I'm thinking about it from my own kind of agenda or desires or whatever, and that's already skewed. So
we compulsively do it. I don't know whether it's like poking a scab or something, or if it's trying to undo it somehow, as if you can go back into the past and undo something that's happened.
Yeah.
But it's all like you have a mouth ulcer and you're always tonguing it. Like it's almost like that.
Yeah. I guess you always think we can think ourselves out of a problem. Like, this is what I realised about the mind, is that the mind is its merit, its value lies in being able to solve problems. Like, our intellect is what makes us succeed over and above other people. So the mind, obviously, to show its merit all the time, needs to present you with problems. So, and it's indiscriminate. It'll present problems from the past as though you can resolve them by thinking them through now, and it'll present, man, it's flagrant. It'll present things that haven't even happened yet, and like, I can solve this problem now by thinking about it now for you. And like, so it's a problem proposing machine and a problem solving machine as well. And that's how we're like, thank you, mind. I'm so glad I've got my mind. But you don't have to heed it all the time. So
you're only thanking it because it solved a problem that it made.
For you, yeah. It's great, isn't it? It's like a I don't know, bank manager or something.
So it looks like it's. I mean, you're already quite a reflective person. I think it's given you, or it's facilitated a lot of this insight into the workings of the mind. Now, we had another client that did a 10-day retreat and said that the main insight that he got was finding tensions and held emotions and things in his body, and found them as distinct artifacts as he was scanning through them, and realized that he held and stored things in his body on a very kind of physical level, and that they were releasing throughout day 7 as well.
Yeah.
Did you feel anything in your body as you went through?
So you have what are called aditanas or aditanas, whatever. They're sittings of strong determination. So you get into your posture at the start of the hour, and whatever you feel in your body, itch, pain, legs going numb, whatever, like, you just don't move. You don't move. You don't open your eyes. You don't stretch out your legs. You don't open your hands. So your hands are on your lap. So whatever happens, whatever you feel, you develop your faculty for equanimity. You just say, it's okay. I'm not averse to it. If it's horrible, I'm not attached to it. If it's pleasant, and then go, yum, I'm warm. Like, you just whatever, it is what it is. and that's really good actually. You feel that developing over time. They're hard. Like
I've done 1 or 2, and they are
I'd go into them with like I'd have to be focused on my goals, and like I'd have to.
You said you were like having to almost amp yourself up to do it, like it's preparing for a sporting event or an exam or something. Like,
yeah, I was just like I had to be super vigilant that like I didn't use a tactic of like willed ignorance, that I somehow like forgot that didn't have to do it, or forgot that I had to do that. And you have to be vigilant with your mind, like all the tactics that you use. You know, it's not,
because wanting to play it cool is another trick, and it's like, oh, I didn't really care anyway. Like, oh, you know,
yeah.
People do it in kind of social situations as well, like trying to pretend that they don't want people's approval, or they don't. That
yeah,
you know, and
just so that they can get the approval for being cool and detached and whatever. But yeah, so you just have to go in with your clear goals and be vigilant, and just like, you know, just be determined, you know, just strong determination, just that you're going to do it. But anyway, so what I felt was I'd be sitting, I'd be scanning my body, and my knees would hurt, and I'd be like, that's okay. And then you get to a point where it's an asparity point where like your pain dissolves, and it just becomes like a vibration and you just feel severities of pain as severities of vibration. So then that's quite cool, because you're like, it doesn't hurt anymore. I just feel like a strong vibration there, and like when my legs are dead, probably developing like arterial ulcers or whatever. But like,
that's actually the neuropathy that you're feeling.
Yeah, I don't know about people with diabetic neuropathy. Like, do they feel it? But anyway, it's all in your head, and it all relates to, you know, portions in your brain that, you know, that senses or moves them. But whatever. But as a thought, it came up invariably as it did. And day 7, the mind was using pretty big guns at that point to try and distract me. I don't know why, to assert its merit again. So really things that like so much anger and so much like fury, and this is what I found out about myself. I knew it anyway, but it was nice to like come face to face with it. Is that a lot of, I wouldn't say the bedrock of my personality, but a lot of the soil on top of it is aggression, skepticism, cynicism, really like deep rooted, like, and it made me really miserable. And okay, surface level personality, I could spin that into like, oh, he's funny, cynical, whatever. But actually, it was dismaying, I think, for people people I've been in relationships with. When they scratch below the surface, they see, oh, actually, he is actually deeply miserable and cynical, not just like he's edited it into something that's funny and sometimes you can control that. And I was like, oh shit, like I'm an angry person, and like my habit is to respond deeply, furiously to things. I was like, God, that's miserable, so miserable. Like, you feel something, you're the first one to suffer from it. Other people may be inflicted indirectly,
but orders of magnitude less than what you're experiencing,
what you're feeling yourself.
Yeah.
Maybe you're numb to it, maybe you don't feel it, maybe you just observe your own reactions to things, whatever. But anyway, I'd have these memories come up, and I'd be furious and angry, and then that pain that was once, that I'd evolved into just a frequency of vibration, came back as pain again. So that's basic. That I would say, I'd say how I felt my body was.
Wow. Okay.
Itching would become.
So it's like correlates, almost like the thing, the fury comes up, or the anger, and then
equanimity would go towards the memory. The pain would come searing back, and that's what becomes good. Is that like, as you become able to be equanimous with your pain, so you become able to become equanimous with the really horrible, complex problems in your life. And that is the grace, the beauty in the system of it. Because nowhere does it say you will face all of your greatest issues. It just says, observe your body,
observe the sensations.
Yeah.
And that is so fascinating. And the fact that everything has kind of been whittled down into an individual sensation. And I guess this is from my, you know, I've not done an extended retreat, so I can't speak for the kind of the depth that you get with that, but the insight that I've developed over the last year or so rather, is that everything is, if you break it down, like any thought or any emotion or anything is actually just a combination of sensations in the body
Yeah.
that we then map together and create meaning out of and turn it into a single unit.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it's so, but it's never been as intense as this kind of, the searing pain correlating with the memories and
but do you think you develop injuries or pain as a result of unresolved trauma? Or
so we spoke to Kit Lachlan a couple of weeks ago, and he said, like, we have these, like, this protective character armor that we develop as muscular tightness, and Wilhelm Reich says all neurosis is tension in the body.
Yeah.
It's a big claim, and it flies up against modern psychotherapy, but he was saying, the phone rings and you're relaxed, you're with your spouse, and when you answer the phone, you realize it's the hated father-in-law, and your body mobilizes itself to prepare against that, and you develop the same tension patterns in the body that as a reaction or as a defense against that. So perhaps so the claim is that you can actually, by focusing on relaxing the body and stretching it out, opening up the physical, through literally stretching, for example, that also affects the internal mental resistance to your environment.
But what about the trigger that causes the aversion that manifests as stress in your body anyway? How do
you dampen the trigger from causing that?
Well, this is the purported mechanism, if you like, of vipassana, is that you have a trigger and you have your reaction. You have an object, the hated object, the beloved object that causes a pleasant or an unpleasant sensation. Then you have a reaction, and then it's about cutting where the reaction is. Do you know what I mean? You're cutting the thread between the sensation and the reaction, so that then so
the trigger happens and there's nothing to receive it on the other side.
Yeah. So and then again, the theory is that, like, once you stop reacting to things, all of the past grievances or pleasant things or attachments or aversions begin coming up. Perhaps this is why I was having really severe, horrible kind of memories or whatever come up, and then you don't get angry when they come up. You sever the reactions towards them, and then they get dissolved and go.
So they
away.
come up and then they're gone for good, because you've vomited them out almost.
Yeah, or you've just eliminated their ability to impact you.
So I suppose what the practical thing here, because this is kind of deep into a retreat, but everybody has and will experience this in a very predictable way. I remember you saying that it was so predictable, and that the videos have been recorded well ahead of time. But they describe exactly what you're feeling on the day, because the mind works in the same way. And once you've unloaded those surface defenses, those things start to come out, and they come out in a very systematic and predictable way. And under the surface, all of us have these things, these structures that are waiting to come out, or that we've stored over time, but they'll maybe have a different spin on them, a different tone, depending on the style of person that you are. If you're naturally a really wired person and you're quite twitchy and stuff, then they're going to come out in one way, or if you're a kind of depressive kind of person, they'll come out in a different way. And I guess we've all got our flavour of emotion.
It's funny that, isn't it? Is it like, what is it that determines that flavour? What is it that determines... You see that game show where, like, they drop a counter through the thing, and it just goes into, like, a little pot. It
seems like that your childhood, your early, before the defences can come in.
It biases the rings, like, if you like. So the disc goes into, like, anger or attachment or
submissiveness.
Neediness. God knows how that's determined, but what you can undo is how your reaction to stuff. Like, if you don't react, if it doesn't impact you, then the counter just dissolves. It doesn't go anywhere. You may still have the categories, but if there's no counter, then
it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
You can't trigger them anymore.
Yeah.
And you said that on that day you experienced a full. I've had a similar experience of, like, seeing all of your conditioning, all of your suffering in one big lump, as if you're hearing it like a musical chord or something. It's like, it's so resounding, and you recognize like, oh, this is all of the stuff, and this is, I've done it to myself.
Yeah.
And the tone of it for me was like pressure that I put on myself, and I suppose that's unanimous across our population of medics, which is, you know, people who are very
goal oriented, type A
goal-oriented
personality.
Yeah, I guess so. And, you know, we put pressure on ourselves and hold ourselves to standards that we can't hit, and end up being very like squashed up about it. And
wrought. Overwrought. Yeah.
So,
but the thing that I came out with at the end, I've always felt that like I'm quite a compassionate person. Like I find myself like really, I used to find myself more so than now really caring about other people, and I'd just like I'd be really sensitive to like how people are hurt and you know how they're suffering and whatever. And I've become like as I've become a bit more like cynical, sadly, like I felt that kind of area of my personality sort of diminished a little bit. But anyway, like just like doing the course or whatever, just really observed how vulnerable people are, like so vulnerable. I think like we develop the flavors or whatever that we are primarily as the first line, like the ultimate line of defense, if you like, the first defense that goes up, and all the other defenses out from that come from that. But like the attachment, the aggression or whatever, it's just because we're so prone to being hurt, we're so vulnerable that all of that, all of those flavors, if you like, tactics, are just defenses. And that really made me have sympathy for the core of people, which is just this really tender, delicate thing. And I was just like, then once you see that, and once you feel it a little bit, you just like, you can't really be angry at anybody anymore, because, and I guess that's like, I'm not having a fucking Jesus complex here, but like, you know, and Jesus, or you know, Buddha has it as well, and I don't know enough about any other religions to talk about it, is when they have compassion for their enemy or compassion with somebody who wants to hurt them. It's just like, I can't hate you, because I know it's coming from a place of hurt, and I just have sympathy for that hurt. So
it's funny,
that was exactly nice. It's just like, oh, cool. I can't hate anybody now, because hate's a burden.
That's exactly what Al was saying, who also wrote an article on this, which you can check out on, I think, propanefitness.com/vipassana, 2 S's. And yeah, he said, I now see anger just as fear. And he said, anyone who's angry now, I just feel, you know, they're just a scared child.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Because I mean, it's a myth. It's a fallacy that you go from childhood to adulthood. Mm-hmm. You don't. You just develop more sophisticated ways to disguise your vulnerability and just to disguise your desires and your aversions. That's all I've ever believed. And getting what you want as an adult is just the same petulant, childish mind. You just develop more sophisticated tactics. That's just like,
yeah, I'd agree.
I just, I'm sorry, like, but so, that's yours. Show another tea.
Yeah.
Or do you want to?
Well, we could wrap things up, and yeah. So, I mean, just
whatever. Yeah.
Would we be able just to quickly discuss the final couple of days, and then if we have any applications or any recommendations for people listening, you know, home practice, and whether you would say, is it worthwhile to go on the retreat in the first place, and what is a sign to go and do it?
Sure. Okay.
I know that's a lot of stuff.
No, yeah, it's an hour's worth of stuff. So the last couple of days is you basically finish your meditation day 9, and then day 10 it's kind of like vipassana light. You do 3 hours, you break noble silence, i.e. you can talk to other people, and then that's just about like making you ready for the real world again. Though actually you don't need it. I felt more ready for the real world than I've ever done, because like I say, I felt comprehending, I felt calm, I felt like I could handle stuff. I mean, you know, I was pretty okay in travel alone, whatever, like I'm okay in alien scenarios anyway, but this more than any other time, I've just been like, it's cool. I can handle shit. But anyway, day 10, Vipassana light. You walk around, you chat, you get to re-mingle with the women again because they're separated. Anyway, my account of the whole thing is worth like less than half a proton. Like, it doesn't matter how much you read about it.
But you're pleased to hear that at the end of this podcast.
Sorry. It's just, like I said, I'm just talking about my experiences because that's what I would do with Yusef. He's my best mate. I talk to him. It's just interesting to share.
The thing is, though, this experience matches the experience of others that I've heard so much that, you know, really, we're not all that different as humans, and we're all going to, if you go through the process, and it's a system, it's a protocol, you're going to have a very similar result. Yeah. Like, if you eat a calorie deficit, you are going to get leaner. It's not like, you know, we've still got the same bodies, we've got the same minds. Yeah. So...
But anyway, the whole point is like that you go and do it yourself, and me talking about it isn't going to bring you any. It's not going to put you on the path. It just might make you aware of the path, but you still have to walk it yourself. You're not going to get any of the benefits that so many people have enjoyed, including myself. I definitely count myself as having had benefit from it. You're not going to get any of them unless you do it yourself, and I would highly recommend doing the 10-day course because I felt benefit from it. The things that I would say tips wise, let's go into it. It's not chilled, all right? It's not fun. It's not comfortable. It's not a romantic holiday away with yourself. It's like, it's hard work. Go in with the attitude that it's hard work, that you're there to work, that you're there to learn a technique, and that and the real benefit to yourself would be in learning it well. So I haven't meditated since I left because I've given myself the time off. But in those 10 days in not meditating, I feel less good. So I will start meditating again. But that's probably about it. Is really do it yourself and do it well. Yeah.
I think that's pretty good. Is there anything? Let's say someone's not meditated before, and
doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter because you didn't have a consistent practice before you went into the 10 days. So you just went balls in, like 0 to 100, and it's not as if you needed the previous experience to benefit from it.
Not really. Like your ego will be going, oh, everyone's so much better than me at meditating. What nonsense. Like, and everybody walks around this like, well, not everybody, I'm being judgmental, that's that cynical personality again. But like you observe everybody with like 15 cushions and they've got this irritating pious little smirk on their face, like they've already like fucking nailed Dharma, like on the zephyrs of Dharma, like within 6 hours. But whatever, that's just your little ego. It's for you, it's for what you get out of it. And if you do the hard work, you do see benefits. So, you know, you don't have to be anything. There's a lot of sports people that I observed, and you know, it's good for everybody. And whatever your level of meditation, it goes from the beginning, and you know, like there's nothing complicated in it. There's no theory that's hard to understand. And what's tough about just observing your breath, really. So, you know, you don't have to be like I say, I did no meditation before, so you know. You're well qualified.
There we go. I'm so glad that we had that chat. I've been looking forward to debriefing after this, and it's partly because I really wanted to go on this particular 10-day retreat, and as a lame-o, I didn't because I thought, I'll have too many emails and too much work to catch up on, which I know is precisely the thing that you're supposed to be transcending and escaping from. But there we go. So that is David. David, how can we find out more about you if anyone wants to get in touch? If anyone has any questions for you,
Man, I'm a ninja. Like no,
can't access him.
You can. Nobody will have any questions. But if you genuinely do, I mean, I've spoken about 2% of my actual experiences and the things that I thought in there. It's endless, the stuff that you'll face when you go in there. But the whole point is that you just can. You're okay with all of it. But yeah, if there are things that you feel that like I didn't really address or whatever, then by all means contact Yusef. But I doubt anybody will have any questions. If you do, speak to Yusef and I'll
speak to us. We'll forward it on.
Yeah. Then I'll
we'll put his email address in anyway. You can just spam him. Cool.
Yeah.
David, thank you very much.
My pleasure. Propaned.
Hey, Jonny again. Hope you enjoyed that episode of the Propane Fitness podcast. Just a short reminder, if you're listening to this driving in your car and you're thinking, man, I really wish I had a reference that they made in minute 5 or 10 or whatever to that thing that they were talking about. Well, we put together show notes for these podcasts every single week. We give you timestamps, we give you links to things we talk about, and we also give chances to grab free things, bonuses, etc. So head over to propanefitness.com and grab the show notes for this episode over there. Also, if you want to be notified of these podcasts when they come out, if you want free subscriber-only benefits, stick your email address in and grab our free downloads. One of the many free downloads, if you go to propanefitness.com and the homepage, there's a big red banner on the top of the website. Pick up that free ebook, that free download, and we'll send you emails whenever a new podcast is available. Just one short reminder as well. As you are a podcast listener, you have access to our exclusive free gift that is available nowhere else. And that is at propanefitness.com/gift.